All right, family. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hope y'all had a great day today. What's today? March 11th. March 11th, family. I got a new guest alert. New guest alert tonight on Black Magic 363. I'm gonna introduce the queen right now. I want to give a shout out to King Simon, because I seen the sister on King Simon's channel, and she did a great job. That was a great interview, King Simon. So I called him right away. I was like, yo, I gotta get on the channel. Was really vibing with her approach, psychological, astrological approach to life in general. Saying that to say, you want to welcome to the show for the first time, Kateria knows. Did I say that right, Kateria?
Shay, you did. I'm so happy you didn't say Kateria.
Oh man, I wouldn't chop it up like that. Not that bad, not bad. But welcome to the show. Welcome to the platform. It's good to have you on here.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. So listen, a lot of the people already know about you in the chat. They were giving you props, I seen.
Hey, people.
Yeah. Now, definitely. And I see in your bio, you said you're an astrological, psychological executive coach, a spiritual guidance counselor. Now, this sounds like some serious stuff right here. So tell the people about yourself. Tell the people what you're doing about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been studying astrology for nearly 27 years now.
Long time.
And yeah, and I've been studying psychology just as long, of course, on my own though. And I recently have become a trauma release therapist, certified trauma release therapist.
Right.
Nonetheless, I combine astrology with psychology and trauma release coaching and so many other modalities for my executive life mastery coaching program. So I have been doing readings for several years now, but when I found that when I'm doing these readings, the clients would need more. And they would want me to elucidate their entire lives, their trajectory, and they would always ask, okay, you just gave me all this information about myself, but now how do I shift into the quantum stream of reality to get what I really truly want out of life, or to live in my divine purpose? And I'm like, I can't tell you all of that in just 30 minutes. We need some session. And so I use these modalities along with several others to help people to come into their authentic expression of their soul's pattern. In a gist.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. So with that being said, like I said, the show you did with King Simon was quite interesting. And the topic I immediately thought of when I thought of having you on the show was tapping into this Lilith energy.
Yes.
And yeah, I looked at there was something called the what is Black Moon Lilith? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Black Moon Lilith in astrology. And I seen a lot of people talking about it. And I was like, I want to touch on that and see what exactly is the Black Moon Lilith in astrology, because they was like, that's where the dark side of your power, that's where all your power lies, and you got to know what placement it's in. So I said, let me build with this sister on that. So what's the deal with the Black Moon Lilith energy in astrology?
Okay, so yeah, and I'm so happy that you are speaking of the Black Moon Lilith more precisely and directly, because there are other placements with the name Lilith, like the asteroid, and there's another point.
Right.
Nonetheless, we're talking and focusing on the Black Moon Lilith, which I want to make this clear for everyone. Black moon Lilith is not necessarily a moon or a planet. It's more of a point. It's an orbital point of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
When you were born, the moon at its darkest, say, orbital point, that's where the black moon is going to be found. Okay. And what is stated, there's so many things about Black Moon Lilith when it comes to mythology. What is stated is that Lilith was Adam's first wife before Eve, and she was a more empowered, independent, fierce type of energy. She refused to submit. And there are a little, there's things that's a bit mixed up whether that submission was in life or if that submission was sexual.
Okay.
Nonetheless, she clashed with Adam. She stated that they were equal unto one another, that he shouldn't be above her, that they should have equal power.
Mm.
And there's stories within this myth that she either ran and escaped the garden, and then there's another story that states that she was kicked out of the garden. But when you think about the empowerment energy of Lilith, you would think that she left on her own merit, on her own call.
Right.
And then there was a time where she tried to come back into the garden, but she did so in a unscrupulous and insidious way. And she slept with Adam, having him be infidelic and unfaithful to Eve.
Mm-hmm.
She's known as a seductress. There's another story that says she was invited back into the garden, but she declined the offer. So
right.
Who knows? It may be all of that's true. I don't know. This is mythology, okay? Now, when it comes to astrology, and that's what we're really focused on, this energy, your dark moon Lilith, it's going to point to the more repressed, ashamed attributes of yourself, especially associated with the moon. All right. Now, when we talk about Lilith in astrology, we're often talking about one's sexual nature and desires, your seductive energy. I like to think of Lilith as, say, a succubus type of energy. She's really captivating and intriguing. She draws you in. And this energy is very desirable for men. I noticed that this is the energy in all women. We have to understand that, say, Lilith is a part of the divine feminine, but it's the dark side of the divine feminine. And it's a part that men tend to be more intrigued by when it comes to the woman. And this energy, when a woman is deficient in this energy, if you will, the nice girls, the Eve girls, when they are lacking the connection and embodiment of their dark moon Lilith energy, they lose their magnetic force field that keeps the man, intrigued and enticed.
Wow.
And so, but it's not just a sexual planet. It's not only sexual. It will show your repressed energy. It will show the darker aspects of your life that has caused you to go through many catalyst events in your life. It will show traumas that you may have faced in your life. And depending upon the sign that it's in, depending upon the house that it's in, it will delineate further for you on that. In a gist, I wanted to give that.
So give me an example of a dark moon Lilith placement in a certain house, and what would that mean for? First of all, how do you find this dark moon Lilith in your astrological chart?
I use astro.com to pull up my astrology charts because they have the most accurate mathematics on there. So you would type it in, you will type in your birth information. You have to know your city, state, and time of birth. Not so much your time of birth when it comes to Lilith per se, because Lilith's orbital cycle goes beyond the minute you were born. Nonetheless, you would want to add in that particular point because it's not naturally on a zodiacal chart. So you have to put it in.
Mm-hmm.
So I would recommend for people who are unfamiliar with reading their own charts, book a reading and do that with me. But so when it comes to reading Lilith in the houses, Lilith in the signs, is different energies, understand that the signs will indicate more so the personality of the planet or the luminary, and the house will show where the activities are taking place. So you have to understand all 12 houses and things of the likes. Now, if you have Black Moon Lilith in the third house, this is going to indicate that you are a powerful communicator with even a bit of a seductive elocution as you speak. You may have a deep voice. You may write poetry that invokes deep feelings in people. You could be a good salesperson, but Lilith can have a scorpionic nature to it. So you could be manipulative, or sometimes people may feel as though you are manipulating them as you communicate. Okay. Now, with the third house, the dark moon Lilith, it could also show that you have siblings that you have difficult emotional bonds and ties to. There could have been a death. There could have been some type of a sexual deviance with a sibling or a cousin or even a neighbor. There could have been jealousy, envy with your siblings. There could have been incest or something like that. Something that was deep and heavy. Nonetheless, a person with this particular placement, understanding that Lilith is still about, say, asserting one's dominance, one's fierce independence. In the third house, you may speak to that quite a bit. You may command that you are heard and seen and felt through the things that you share. You do want to be mindful of your vehicles being stolen or getting into car accidents and things of the likes, or issues with your phones. And I can go on and on and on. Please interject, because
No, it's quite, no, it's quite
there's a million delineations for one placement.
Somebody actually asked a question that I wanted to ask you. Where's it at? Yeah, definitely. When I was reading up on Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, I read up on the Medusa story. So
Yes.
it's associated with each other?
Yes.
Shout out to Andy G. What up, Andy?
Ashe. Yeah, I was actually looking into that myself. When it comes to the dark moon Lilith, she's really associated with all dark feminine archetypes, Orisha. Even when it comes to, say, Oshun, there is a path of Oshun called Ibukule, where that's the darker path. And this energy, dark Lilith, will be associated with Ibukule. She's also associated with Sekhmet energy, just that powerful, fierce, feminine, dominant, say, independent energy who refuses to submit to the power of anyone, and she's willing to walk her own path. She has a very Martian, Plutonian energy to her. So yes, she is associated with Medusa.
Now, this Lilith, this rebellious energy, when you talk about the divine feminine energy, and people often associate it with the word chaos, and it's like this warrior-like spirit that Lilith had. And you find in modern times, you find the word warrior associated with masculinity. So when you hear the word warrior, based on your research, ancient, present, is that more of a feminine thing where men are channeling divine, dark, feminine energy, or is it more of a masculine thing that women are channeling masculine energy on their behalf?
I never thought about that, to be honest. I would feel that it would be really ubiquitous in nature, that it doesn't matter. A woman can demonstrate dark masculine energy. A man can demonstrate dark feminine. A woman could demonstrate dark feminine energy. I really couldn't answer that.
Right. Yeah, no. I wondered that when I read it. I heard Bobby was like, in Hindu mythology, Lilith was the chief demon who didn't want to lay down. I was like, damn it.
She's the mother of the demons. She birthed all the demons on the earth. So all of you narcissists, your mother is Lilith.
Oh man. Whew. What do you look at demons the same way the church does when you hear the word demon? How do you view when you hear the word demons? How do you view it?
So I have several different ways that I actually look at demons. I mean, I could say that I see them in a bit of the religious context of some otherworldly dark force energy that wants to possess a host in a living body to take over and have power and domination. I do see that aspect of demons. And I also see demons as even some of our ancestors. They weren't, not all of our ancestors were holy kumbaya as people. You know, they was also with the shits too. So excuse my expression. Nonetheless, some of our ancestors can have that energy about themselves, and if I'm dealing with someone attacking me or causing some form of harm, and I got auntie in the astral realm that I know she was in tune with her power, like, don't have my auntie come and get you. But I don't even, I personally don't dabble into dark magic. I'm already a protected being that if somebody does try to mess with me, ain't he gonna get you? You might as well not do that. But that could be seen as a bit of a demonic force. Now, as it pertains to the individual, I
Right.
do see demons as your poor personality traits that you refuse to look into.
Mm,
Those attributes that may be locked away in your shadow,
mm,
that you need some healing. You need to look further and or deeper into those, because
mm.
they can work insidiously in your life and disrupt things for you. They can be
Okay.
very draining. You could also face other people's, say, dark demonic energy in a living entity. Sometimes a person can send you dark energy. It could be lustful in nature. It does not have to show up in one way, but I tend to focus on the psychological aspects as in behavioral aspects as it pertains to individuals when I'm talking about their demonic energies, because your demonic energies they're going to be demonic, and they're going to work in a paradoxical fashion in your life because they are misunderstood. They're not looked at. They're not healed. It's not a properly integrated energy. I'm not one that talks about shaming your darker energies. We all have them. They need to be understood and seen. They are the beast of who you are, so they do need a bit of a leash, but you gotta feed the beast or it's going to eat you alive. But you want to learn how to feed these energies without causing harm to yourself or others.
Indeed. Do you think when we describe divine feminine energy, when science describes it as chaos, do you think that's a disrespectful way to describe this energy? Do you think there's a more appropriate word?
I do feel that way, that it's a bit disrespectful, and I feel that they call it that because it's misunderstood.
Okay, okay,
And
okay.
yeah, because they want to take control over everything.
Mm,
And it baffles me that these scientists study dark matter and
mm,
they spend billions of dollars trying to study dark matter. And I'm like, you fools, don't you understand that if you understood dark matter in its functioning, that it would cease to be what it is? Its very integral, intrinsic essence is to be mysterious. If
mm.
you uncover its mystery, it will be no more, or you will be no more.
You know what's interesting about you was like, if you uncover it, you was like, you would be no more and it would be no more. I think the hardest thing to figure out in this world is a woman, like a black woman. Like, you just can't figure y'all out. Like, it's just, you think she's going left, then she go right. You think she go right, then she go left. Like the way a woman operates, it's like, wow. It's like such a energy that is and I don't want to use the word chaos, but it's just you just can't figure it out.
It's
Uh
mysterious. It's ever moving. We're not stagnant energy. We're always unfolding and unflowering.
yeah, yeah. No, definitely, definitely. Do you think is that because of that energy, do you think it's a little harder for that energy to function in this realm and easier to function in the spirit realm, while the masculine energy is easier to function in this realm and harder to function in the spiritual realm?
Absolutely, I agree. But I don't feel that the energy cares. I don't think that she wants to have it easier in this realm. I think she likes living in the shadows.
That's a good point. Explain that, please. That's a good point.
Well,
Living in the shadows. You got to explain that. You got to
yeah,
explain.
I mean, even when you think of Lilith leaving the garden and all of these things, there's parts of us that like to be unseen. We even find we like to be mysterious. And when with Lilith being so associated with sexual energy,
Right.
right? And prowess, I wouldn't want all of my sexual ability exposed to the world. It would cease to be intriguing. We know that mystery is the most captivating thing. So it's dark Lilith energy is all about drawing anything. It's a magnetic energy. It's like it sucks and draws you in. If it's hyper exposed, it doesn't exist in that space. Some vegetables are nightshades. Some grow in the sun, some grow in the dirt. You know, we have these different energies that thrive in different environments. That's like pulling a one of those deep dark creatures from the ocean and saying, hey, yo, you need to live in this cave or this cage in my house. Like, fam, no, I don't want to do that. And why this light so bright? Like, that's not where I belong. And so I feel like the dark Lilith energy likes to be in the night because that's where it functions the best, because it is almost like a drain. It's almost void of light, and it sucks the light in. I mean, it's like a vagina. What purpose would a vagina have if it was totally pulled inside out and laid flat? It would be like, okay, yeah, well, just, put me in the grave because I have no here.
No, definitely. This divine feminine energy, a lot of people, when they seen Trump go up against Kamala, they assumed that she was going to usher in the divine feminine energy. And I said this on several shows, and a lot of the astrologers got it wrong, and they thought that she was going to win, and she didn't win. And Trump is in office, and we see some of the things Trump is doing. And one of the things Trump is doing that people like is the whole gender thing. And he's saying dudes got to stop. Dudes can't play football with the woman. We'll let the woman be the woman. Y'all niggas play with the dudes, if whatever. Do you think is the divine feminine energy working through Trump? Because Trump, that's Mr. Grab him by the pussy. So everybody, he was like Mr. Toxic, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But with him making this move, do you think the divine feminine is working through Trump? And why would the divine feminine choose to work through Trump this way instead of working through Kamala?
I never thought about that, to be honest. I never thought about it. I mean, I haven't even been paying attention to what he's doing entirely lately, right. But I do agree that biologically born men should not compete with biologically born female. I don't care if your name is now Sandra Thompson, right. Have a whole nother sports that are made for transgender men and women so that there is a fair competition. Because if you were born as a biological male, you have more testosterone access and capability and certain bone structure that you already have an advantage. I think that we should have a transgender sports, and I would go and watch and be there with some of my clients who are transgender and who also agree with my stance on that as well. Like, why do you even want to do that? You don't see so many transgender men, women, biologically born women trying to compete in the NBA.
Yeah.
They are aware of their disadvantages physically. It's just there. Like, let's not try to get rid of everything. It's a great thing that you can shift your sex somewhat surgically, but let's not completely disregard biology.
So with mental illness being talked about so much in this country, and with a lot of people saying they go to therapy. Now, earlier when we first started, I read your bio, and let me just see. You say you are astrological, psychological, executive coach, and experience guidance counselor. Why do you think it seems like the more people are going to therapy and the more people are addressing their mental health, it seemed like it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. What do you think is missing from therapy and from spiritual guidance that where people are just not, it seems as though people are not getting better?
Okay, so I haven't noticed that. You feel that I don't know if you're talking about collectively in society or individuals.
Collective consciousness. Collective,
So
yeah.
collectively in this society, there is a bit of inertia. There is a whole agenda against people who are healing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a part of the plan of the, say, evildoers, if you will.
Right, right.
Now, I have noticed people transforming. In my program, people transform. I have helped so many people discontinue their desires of, their suicidal ideation,
Right.
many. And but the reason why people have to go to therapy for so long repetitiously is because the issue is not, it's not even just their traumas, but we need life reprocessing. We've been taught to function and see life in a completely paradoxical, convoluted way. It's a whole constructed plan to have us against ourselves. So we are creating and living in essentially a hell rather than a utopia. And
Mm-hmm.
so and this is why I combine astrology and psychology and other methodologies, because I'm like, it's not just that you have these traumas, but you need to understand what life actually is and reprocess your mind, because what we've been told how to look at life, how to look at God, everything has been externalized. So we're walking around with no power, just
Mm-hmm.
rendered helpless and having to depend on everything else. We're in an energetic slavery. So it's going to take a long time for people and for that to even reach the collective, for there to be a significant shift in end or change. So, but I am a major advocate for continuous, say, therapy. Even myself, I've been in therapy for 3 decades. Okay. And I still speak to therapists. It helps you to really get your thoughts together. And you can't say that therapy don't work, fam, because if you would have caught me when I was a teen, I was a hot mess. I was out here fighting. I've been in like 31 fist fights. I've been locked up 9 times. I did 2.5 years locked up. You know what I'm saying? Because I was bad. I was facing in a, what is it called? An assault with a deadly weapon charge and all kind of stuff. My name was the mischievous Lady Klepto when I was 14. I've been raped 5 times and all kind of things. And you can't tell me that therapy don't work. I was homeless at the age of 4. You know what I'm saying? And if I did not have therapy and psychological healing and counseling, I would have killed someone by now.
Yikes. Wow. I'm glad to see where you're at now in life, considering you've been through all that. That's a beautiful transformation.
Thank you.
And with so many people go through so many things in life, just as you went through what you went through in life. And I'm glad that you are helping others through your spiritual therapy. And there's a lot of, this is a global audience, men and women from all over the world watch this. What would you say? You've been doing this for a while. What is one of the biggest issue you notice when you're giving therapy to men? And what's the biggest issue you notice when you're giving therapy to women, so that maybe that may resonate with some of the audience and they could work on that?
Okay, so I'll start with the men. So the biggest issue I've noticed with men is how they have been socialized. And that's the same with women. So let me say that too. But nonetheless, when it comes to men, as young little boys, you all were taking away from yourselves and your emotional processing.
Mm-hmm.
And this causes more issues than we're willing to admit to or even look into. The moon rules the emotions, okay, in astrology. And the moon also rules your needs. It rules your home, your mother. It rules your foundation of being. And it rules your emotions as well. So if you are told when you're crying as a little boy, man, stop crying. You ain't a little girl. Oh, you acting like a pussy. Man, toughen up. We don't cry. Boys don't cry. This is drummed into your head. With the moon being that inner self, and you're being pushed away from these feelings that come up, it causes you to be disconnected from yourself and powerless. This makes it difficult to get your needs met. It makes it difficult to come into what's really right for you, relational wise, and even when it comes to careers, just your core needs. A lot of our men are homeless. The moon rules the home. If you're disconnected from your emotions, you don't even know how to navigate life to manifest or to create a living for yourself sometimes. And you're going to have a very difficult time understanding women because you don't even understand your own emotions, yourself. How could you even connect to another person if you haven't been able to connect with yourself? Men have a difficult time connecting with each other, and it's all an emotional issue. Even I was even listening to this young brother. I cannot recall his name, but he has an amazing video where he was talking about the issues between Black men and Black women. We have to understand that we are both victims of oppression, and the Black man has been stripped of his power and his material wealth and things of sorts, whereas Black women have been given a certain just say some leniency to go out there in the world and do whatever it is that she needs to do. And Black men, we need to understand what's going on. Both sexes need to understand one another. Now, I agree 150 million% with that brother's video, and it needs to be shared, and it needs to go viral for real. And we need to be reminded of that. Like, our men have been stolen from, they have been taken from, so on and so forth. Now, our men need to understand that we have been taken from as well. We have been oppressed as well. But the advantage that women have is that we have been able to connect it to our emotions into others. So when something negative is going on in our life, we don't be like, man, nigga, fuck that shit. You know, I'm about to drink, I'm about to smoke, or man, let me just go work out in the gym, you know, whatever, fuck that bitch, I don't even care. No, when we're dealing with something, we're going to feel our feelings. We're going to cry. We're going to say, what is this teaching me? Oh my gosh, this is scary. This is hard. We're going to call someone, you know, we're going to do all of these things, but your emotions are the waves of the river that guides your boat along. If you don't know how to connect with them, feel them, sense them, and see them, and allow them to navigate you, it's essentially like you have a dam in your river, and now you're just going in circles and circles and circles. This is why men are always spinning the block when it comes to relationships, where women are able to move on. The moon it rules Cancer, which is the repetitious sign of the zodiac. You're stuck. You have arrested development, and it's not just men's fault. It's all of our issues. So that's the biggest issue that I see with men, and it causes them to have a lack of confidence and things of the likes. I have the dark moon Lilith in the sign of Cancer. So when I'm connecting with people, whether you're my client, a romantic partner, you're going to cry with me. I need you to cry, because if you don't cry, if you don't express that emotions, I'm a demisexual, I need you to be emotional. But if you don't release that, we cannot move forward. And I see a lot of men are stuck, whether that's in business, their living situation, their relationships, or other things. There's so many ways that you could be stuck, and it's because of the lack of the emotional understanding and cultivation.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So basically, with men, expressing our emotions and learning to tap in with our emotions.
Yeah, feeling them. We need to know that emotions, you know how we say our thoughts create reality. They don't, but I digress on that. Our emotions guide us to where we need to go. Our emotions also drive in. They magnetically pull things in. So if you're disconnected to your emotions, you are rendered vulnerable and susceptible to magnetize any type of nonsense to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you want to, it's in, and I feel, and I'm gonna tell you this, the hardest thing you'll ever do, and hey, I will say the most masculine thing you'll ever do, since men are the hardest, the strongest, the toughest, the strongest thing you'll ever do is feel your feelings in life, period. Literally. If let's talk about the worst thing, death, right? The hardest thing you could do is feel that death, feel the poison, feel the knife, feel the gunshot hitting your body. That is the hardest thing you'll ever feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were numb and somebody shot you, like, all right, well, sure, I guess I'm out of here. I don't know. You won't feel nothing. It wouldn't do nothing. If your mother passed or someone that you love, those emotions, that's the hardest thing to do. So if you really want to be a strong man, if you really want to be tough, you want to feel your feelings, because it is the most difficult thing you will ever do in life.
Indeed.
And that's why women tend to be so resilient.
So the emotions with the men, what about the woman? Like, in terms of the therapy, what have you noticed that they need to work on the most?
The women have to work on their emotions too, but mostly when it comes to expressing themselves, asserting themselves in their anger, they
Mhm.
tend to deal with issues of being afraid of being seen in a certain light, whether that's being seen as masculine, whether that's even being seen as being weak. They can have a lot of defenses around themselves, so they can be argumentative and snappy and things of the likes, but they oftentimes have a hard time really owning their power, owning their beauty. They tend to be insecure, physically insecure, because of, you know, society puts a lot of pressures on us to have a certain type of appearance, a certain, you know, junk in our booty and all kind of things. And their sense, their self-image, how in self-concept, how they feel about how they look holds them back tremendously,
Mm.
along with other issues. But I know, like, when a woman really feels beautiful, when she's looking her best, she, you know, and she's feeling like she looks her best, she can kind of get through anything. And I just have to, you know, navigate a little bit of stuff, you know. But when they don't look good, I'm having to really address that quite a bit. They suffer from physical insecurities quite a bit.
Mhm. Wow, you know that's some good advice, y'all. I hope y'all got some. And shout out to everybody in the chat. We got about 1,300 people in the chat. This sister's making her debut. Damn, I don't want to mess your name up. I said it right earlier.
I'm gonna let you try again.
Because you messed me up. You said it the wrong way, and now you got my mind. You now, Kateria.
There you go.
Kateria, all right. Kateria knows on the channel. Some of you know about her. If you don't, I listen to her on King Simon's channel, and the way her minds work is very interesting. And I liked her psychological, spiritual approach to a lot of things that she was discussing. So we here now, and we having this magnificent conversation. Let me keep this thing going. So somebody, when you was a little earlier, when you was talking about your childhood and the things you've been through, whether it be rape or, you know, the fights or whatever, you know, I find that a lot of spiritual people who are extremely tapped in as an adult, they've been through a lot of trauma
Yes.
when they were young. What I want to ask you, do you think, and I know we're, you know, you deal with spirituality, we're multi-dimensional beings, and they say this is a holographic realm, and Kateria is a projection. Your higher self is projecting yourself down here in this realm to experience itself through, you know, in the 3D realm. Saying that to say, do you think that when you are born incarnate in this realm, do you think we have like some fourth dimensional enemies that can spot you and be like, there that bitch, go get her, and they like take over NPCs, and this is why you get so much shit coming at you. This dude wants to hurt you, this girl wants to hurt you, because there's like a enemy we have somewhere else that's constantly targeting you because they know you down here and you incarnated in this realm. I know that's kind of wild, but I want to, you know.
Yeah, that's fascinating. No, I don't believe that at all. And believing down that thought could be quite dangerous and can lead to schizophrenia.
Ooh. So all right, because I hear people talk about like and the reason why I asked that, people talk a lot about the what's the them entities called, y'all, the
Arcturians.
Arcturians and all that. Yeah, dog, they be like, you know,
by them.
So then what the hell you mean it's crazy to say? What are you talking about? You just said you got abducted by them. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was a beautiful experience. I'm waiting for them to come back. Well, I was abducted by the elementals, but when I was interviewed on the Discovery Channel, they called them the Arcturians. And I had a very beautiful, pleasant abduction. I've been abducted twice.
Twice by them?
Once by them, once by the Greys.
And this is when you was young or as an adult?
No, this is as an adult. When I was abducted by aliens, it's so funny. My friend was so into aliens. I'm like, I'm a Black woman. I have other things to think about. So when people say, oh, Kateria, what do you think about aliens? I don't. What do you mean? Like, there's so much going on in the world. I don't have time for that. But yeah, I was abducted by, I will call them the elementals because that's what I know them by. And they are a blue ray based being, blue light energy beings. They look exactly like Avatar. Avatar actually based their entire story off of the elementals. And when they abducted me, it was, I would say, April 21st or April 18th of 2012. And they abducted me. I was laying down in the bed and I was thinking about all the things I had to do the following day. I was forcing myself to go to sleep. I was not sleepy at all. I was in the bed with my children. I was working on the Real Family Reunion, Return to the Gods, the celebration of the Great Awakening. And in that year, that's when actually Dr. Delbert Blair, the late great Dr. Delbert Blair, came to that one along with Reverend Michael Beckwith. Nonetheless, I was laying down in my bed and it was about 9 o'clock at night. And I felt my energy body just kind of gather. And then it flew, it went up in a stream, and then it went into a complete square, and then it was projected into a world, into a ship. But now, before I even went into the ship, actually, let me take you back a step. I heard this sound go above my apartment. Right. And so I was projected into this world, but I kind of stopped. And there were millions of beings inside of this ship. The women were magnificently scintillating, beautiful beings. They were 20 feet tall. The other beings that I connected with were about 20 feet tall. And my heart was pounding. The man spoke with me. There was one man that stood and spoke to me. There were several women, and they were dressed. They remind me of Willow Smith. They all have bodies kind of like Willow Smith, but like Avatar. And they have these really creative pieces and things of the likes. Nonetheless, one of the men spoke with me and said, we would like to initiate you into our world, and we would like to teach you all of the ologies. I've never heard the word ologies before in my life, but they stated herbology, astrology, not psychology. It was herbology, astrology, numerology, and another ology, and we'll teach you how to be rich forever and young forever. And I, of course, I'm intrigued, but I did not go. I had a panic attack. I asked them to take my panic attack away, and they told me, the man told me that I should keep turquoise crystals on me since I am an Aquarius. And I didn't even know the properties. I don't even think he told me the properties. I just asked to take my panic attack away. But when a couple of months later, a friend gave me a turquoise crystal, and I found out the properties that they do take away panic attacks and things. And, but yeah, I mean, the story goes more in depth. I don't want to get all into it right now, though.
Do you think panic attacks are a symptom of being spiritual?
Yes.
What advice would you give to spiritual people who constantly get panic attacks?
Oh, I have a lot of advice in that area, given the fact that my Chiron is in Gemini. But what I will say is, you were speaking about how a lot of spiritual people go through a lot of trauma, and we become hyper vigilant. And through that process of becoming hyper vigilant, we kind of get disconnected from our bodies because we're going through so much pain and anguish. It feels like death, the things that we're experiencing, and we kind of want to escape. And so we go outside of our bodies, and we end up dwelling in two different realms or multiple different realms. I'm in multiple different realms, and I am a Pisces rising moon in Pisces, so I'm already like the two fish type of an energy, and I have a lot of 8th house stuff going on too. But yeah, we become hyper vigilant so that we can know what's going on, so we can follow the patterns, so that we could essentially protect ourselves and ameliorate some of the difficult experiences, or to kind of run and hide from them. That's why spiritual people, or that's why traumatized people tend to become spiritual or crazy.
There might be a thin line between spiritual and crazy.
There is a very thin line.
A lot of spiritual people I know, they're a little batshit crazy.
We all are kind of crazy, though. All people, it's a ubiquitous thing. But the people who don't own their crazy, and they continue to shut it down in their shadow, it gets projected onto other people, then reflected back to them. But if you also do not honor the traumas and the crazies within you, and consistently seek help, then you is going to be crazy. You're going to be seeing all kind of things. And those they would otherwise be spiritual gifts. Now they schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder and all kind of other issues. Now, my advice to people who suffer from panic disorder is to take care of your gut. And this is my advice to all people. Everyone has an issue. Everyone has a psychological issue. Everyone has a physical issue. Those issues should not be shamed, suppressed, or shut down. You need to take care of those parts of you like you would take care of your baby. If your baby had an issue, if your baby had a vitamin deficiency or something and you knew about it, you will consistently check and make sure that baby was eating the food it needed, being taken care of. So whatever your issues are, take care of them, nurture them. That's what feelings are. Feelings, right, are ruled by the moon, which rules Cancer. Cancer also rules support. That's what we're supposed to do with our feelings, is to empathize with them, give them compassion, and find healthy support for those. So people who suffer from panic disorder, check your gut, okay? Make sure your microbiome is healthy. Make sure you have enough taurine in your body, because a lot of us were not breastfed. And when we're lacking the mineral taurine, that can lead to panic disorder. Also get a full panel done on your allergies, because they can cause panic in your body. Do some somatics therapy. Work with me. I'm a trauma release therapist. And since I have suffered from anxiety disorder and things of the likes, I take a lot of things that help to relax my nerves. And I drink chamomile tea. I take ashwagandha. I make sure I have enough B vitamins, and I don't consume sugar. I know what my triggers are. I know if I'm driving in a car, a vehicle, and something is, going on, I know, okay, Kateria, this reminds you of that accident, and I get back centered and I get back grounded. So we shouldn't shame ourselves for our different issues. We need to learn how to work with them in a healthy fashion, because we all got problems.
What's more dangerous, Kateria, owning your dark side or eliminating your dark side?
There's no way to eliminate your dark side.
Or suppress it.
It's more dangerous to suppress it. It could sometimes be more dangerous for other people if you own it.
So what's good for you might be bad for other people.
Yeah.
And you gotta accept that.
Yeah, but I would encourage people to own their dark side, because if you own your dark side, then you can use it to your benefit and it won't work against you. If you suppress it, it can ruin your life. Absolutely ruin your life. If you own your dark side, if you know your dark attributes, your jealousy, your lust, your manipulative tendencies and things of the likes, you can be in a situation where you're triggered to act out in these negative ways based upon these feelings. And that could really work against you. But if you're aware, you can say, okay, this is triggering this in me. Let me get back in tune with myself. Let me get some centering. Let me get some grounding and handle things the correct way. Because this is the caveat when it comes to understanding your darkness in your emotions. The dark moon, Lilith, which rules our dark suppressed emotions, right? Mm-hmm. And the moon, they're ruled by, the sign Cancer, right? Now, the planet Mars, which is the planet of action, is at a detriment or a fall in the sign of Cancer. Okay, I forget which one, if it's a detriment or a fall, meaning that this is the worst placement for Mars to be. So what does that tell you? Do not act on your emotions. Now, the moon, which rules Cancer, your emotions, it is a reflective luminary. So when you have emotions, you're supposed to reflect upon them. What is this teaching me? What is this bringing into my life? Okay. And then you're supposed to extract some form of wisdom before you take an action. Okay. So if you don't act upon your emotions, you reflect and you allow yourself to heal, learn, and grow from that. And once you get the wisdom, then you make the right move.
A little earlier, this is a fascinating conversation. I knew it would be a fascinating conversation. Awesome. A little earlier, you mentioned how you don't think thoughts create your reality. When Kateria has a thought in her head, you could be thinking something right now in your head as I'm talking to you. Where does that thought come from, according to your research, your knowledge, of astrology, spirituality? They say it's non-local, it's not in our brain. Where is this thought coming from if it's not yours and it's not in your head?
I feel that we have several places that our thoughts come from. We do have our conscious mind, we have our prefrontal cortex, we have the medulla brain, we have the limbic brain. I feel that they all play parts in our thoughts. And then we also have the collective consciousness. We have our societal programming that causes us to think things. We have our reticular activating system. So I feel that our thoughts come from several different sources. Nonetheless, yes, I did state that it's not our thoughts that create our reality, but they can assist in the creation of our reality. It's more so our magnetic field and our deep inner core belief that creates our reality rather than our thoughts. But our thoughts, we can train them. We have more direct access to them. We can use our thoughts to assist in the creation and even the reprogramming of our deeper core psyche.
You know, and speaking of thoughts and spirituality, how would one distinguish paranoia versus your higher self trying to guide you? Like some, and
The
I
higher
give
self doesn't speak in paranoia. That's how.
no, this is what I'm saying. It may not speak in paranoia, but you may consider it paranoia. You may think that your higher self could give you a warning, stay away from this guy. A girl could like a guy, your higher self could say this guy isn't for you. You may just think you being paranoid and you just overthinking it. Then you get with the dude, boom, now you're fucked up. So, or it could be the opposite. You could be with a good dude, or a dude could be with a good woman, and you could just have these paranoid thoughts, and you think it's coming from your higher self, and you self-sabotage your whole relationship. Now you're talking about ain't no good people out there when you done sabotage 5 different good relationships. So how would one distinguish when they think it's paranoia versus when they think it's just advice from their spirit guides?
Absolutely. So I do want to go back to my original statement. Even if you were about to die, you're not going to be told that in such a state of panic. So we do need to distinguish the voice of intuition and the voice of fear. So even, I mean, I predict death quite a bit, and I predicted my friend's death. And when I was given that message, even though I felt alarmed, I didn't feel panicked. So we have to kind of distinguish that energy, you know. Nonetheless, I want people to know that if you really feel drawn to something or someone, you should look into why you are being called there. But if you are being given warning signs, slow down. Just slow down the process of the connection and really feel things out and go through a process of, you know, elimination of pros and cons. But if you are being given a warning of something or someone, like I was even told, I got an opportunity to save someone's life based on a spirit and an energy saying, hey, this could happen. And when that spirit came and told me, hey, this can happen, I said, hey, you guys, all right, no, we're checking out. We're about to move. We have to shake and move. We're leaving here. But still, the way that those messages were brought to me, it was still subtle in its energy. It's kind of like a wise energy that's saying, hey, this is going to bring this, that, or the third. Now, higher self knows that any path is going to still lead you to the right path. Any path that you take, even if it deviates you or deters you on your right path, you're still going to get to where you need to be. There's many equations to get to the number 9. So it doesn't really incite so much anxiety, even though it can bring upon a warm sensation of, okay, you know what, let me go on ahead and handle this like that. So, I mean, you're going to really have to work with it within yourself and really know where it comes from within yourself. I know where mine comes from when I'm being anxious, like, and this is so important to understand your own emotional triggers. I know, oh, a car or something, I know that that's coming from the past, right? I know that that's coming from something that a past trigger, and I am just being warned off of something from the past. So I know that that's just my fear speaking to me. But when it's something that's trying to alarm me about, hey, this guy might, he might dick whip you. You might get lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? Which and that won't happen. But then that's gonna come. It's gonna have a different type of a more subtle energy, even though it may be warm.
Right. Okay. I love the way you explain that. I'm gonna ask about one. We're about to hit the hour mark. I'm gonna ask one more question. I want the family in the chat to get some questions ready. I'm gonna get some questions from the family in the chat before we get out of here. Also, King Simon was sharing Kateria's website info. I don't know where King Simon here go. It's in the chat, family. She got a website, Cash App, Venmo. King Simon is sharing it in the chat. Make sure you go check her stuff out and support her. Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on there. The Holy, I think you just came out with a new book, right? The Holy.
Yeah. The Holy Trinity, the process of becoming whole, is about the ego, the shadow, and the higher self. It will be coming out this spring. I have the pre-launch for it right now, so people can pre-order the book.
Indeed. We're gonna touch on that before we close out. Shout out to King Simon in the chat. What I want to ask you before I get to some questions from the family, just listening to you talk, and I asked you earlier about one of the biggest issues with men, and you said our disconnect with our emotions and feelings. What I notice in life is that with women, a lot of women I've come across, and you watch TV and I've interviewed thousands of people and you hear so many different stories. If that's the man's biggest issue, being disconnected with our feelings and our emotions, it seems as though now our heart, they say our heart doesn't lie to us. Our heart is our heart. The heart never lies. We just don't know properly understand the heart. Women suffer a lot of heartbreaks in relationships, and they often after they suffer the heartbreak, they say, damn, I followed my heart, and this is where it got me. Yeah, I followed my heart. I thought I was going, and this is where it got me. So it almost seems as though women aren't in touch with their feelings and emotions, because according to the statistics of the relationships and the complaints being put out there, they're not properly listening to their heart when it comes to picking dudes. And then when they pick the dude, they say, damn, they blame it on the heart. Oh shit, my heart, I followed my heart and now my heart's broken.
Right.
So talk to me about that aspect.
So it takes me back to what I was saying about life reprocessing. I feel that it's so foolish that people try to live their lives in such this defense that they don't face anything. Sometimes your heart does call you to a difficult relationship. It's not about holding on to that relationship, but more so about the process of who you become through that relationship. So I wouldn't say that women are foolish. I will say that they can still be led by their heart, but they're going through an initiation process of evolution. That's what life is really about. Excellent. And so in the heart and the emotions, they're, kind of different, and women are very resilient. So we will kind of pick the fuck boy or the this and that because we know we could get out of it. Men actually avoid women that they fear because they're afraid of what they would die and metamorph into. Because they don't know their emotions. They don't connect to their emotions. So they will take a cowardice route.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let's get to some questions from the family. We are hitting the hour mark. Great interview. Kateria has made her debut on Black Magic 363. Let's get to some questions from the chat, family. Let me put Kateria on the full screen, and let's okay, let me see, where is this? Okay. At Radiohead Rich, can you ask the sister if she knows of any group of spiritual beings whose motto or mantra is love, light, loyalty, respect?
I don't. That's beautiful, though. That should be ours.
Indeed. All right, that should be ours. Okay, let's question. Kateria's thoughts. I always believed that panic attacks were for weak people. However, I chose to walk away from the 12-year marriage. It triggered panic, anxiety, and fears that I've never experienced.
Is that a question or a
Yeah, I'm
statement?
not. I thought it was. It said Q, so I thought it was a question, but I guess it's more like a
Oh,
statement.
okay. Yeah, I experienced a relationship that induced a lot of panic and things. And at first, I feel like they were warning signs, but then it turned into like, you need to get away from this person because they're draining you of your own energy. And I had panic, panic attacks at night and night terrors and the incubus energy. I've experienced that myself.
Okay. Next question. Can you tell me about Lilith and Aries in the 10th house?
Lilith and Aries in the 10th house. Okay, so you're a Cancer rising or near that. Could be a Gemini or Leo rising. So Lilith and Cancer in the 10th house, you could deal with issues when it comes to people in power and authority. You would likely be called into entrepreneurial endeavors that were transformative in nature. You do need to work with deeper aspects of yourself so that you are not sabotaging yourself when it comes to your status, career, your reputation. You do want to be mindful of your sexual prowess in the spaces of work, because you could be seen as a seductress in one way or another, or you can be seduced by people in these spaces, and it can tarnish your reputation. If you're not familiar or aware with your own dark energy as it pertains to Lilith in this context, it could work against you, especially if you deal with sexual immaturity, anger, rage, and some of your passionate projects may go undone if you feel as though, if you're not really connected to your emotions, or if you feel as though it's not going to yield you the power and respect that you want. And it could cause you to go down different paths that also won't generate the success you're looking for. You need to go way deeper into looking at that and the other aspects of your chart. I will implore you to book a session with me.
Indeed. Let's get to the next. I got a super chat question. Where is it at? From Mia. Can you break down Lilith and Aquarius in the 2nd house?
Lilith in Aquarius in the 2nd house. You can attract wealth in interesting ways, unique ways, but you could also lose it quite quickly. You have to be mindful of how you spend. There can be darker energies that will compel you to spend your money on something that it proves to be inconsequential down the line. You can deal with struggles to your sense of self-worth, that you may rely on such a certain level of your sexual energy to attract the things that you want and need, but they can be convoluted and work against you. But when you understand your more darker nature, your darker energy, they can become an alliance with and to you as it pertains to your wealth. You also want to be mindful of your dietary choices in going into levels of extreme diets, or eating things that are unhealthy for you, and all of these kinds of things. Also, you do have an intuitive nature, but sometimes you're going to have to learn to distinguish your intuitive nature with your dark nature, especially when it comes to intimacy, and when it comes to finances, when it comes to food, and when it comes to your possessions.
Okay. Next question. Is Lilith Lucifer?
Lilith is known as, say, some people call Lilith the wife of Lucifer, the mother of the demons. So if you see Lucifer as feminine, then Lilith could be considered Lucifer.
Okay. Next question. What's an example of using your dark side to benefit your experience?
Ooh, that is a beautiful question. That is a beautiful question. So now, when I was learning to really embrace my dark side, I was taught to and told to embrace my dark side from an Ianifa who was initiated under the powers of Ibukule. She told me that since I didn't embrace my dark nature at the time, many, many years ago, that I was faced with the darkness of others. And I was vulnerable to narcissists. I was vulnerable to just demonic forces. Your dark energy is a protective energy. Now, your dark energy is also quite captivating. It will make it to where people respect you. It could also help you in relationships to keep your partner satisfied. When you're not connected to your dark energy, you claiming to be a freak in the sheets, you playing yourself. You're not really that. Like, be so for real, you know? So it could benefit you in that space. And it could also help you to see the darkness in others, to know which way to navigate and or move, whether you're going to work with someone or not.
Okay. Next question. How to develop stronger self-trust?
To not over promise yourself things. Don't put too much on yourself. Don't say, oh, I'm going to do this at 3 o'clock and then I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do this. Remember that you're a human and aim to live your life as authentically as possible. Understand that planet Earth is a big body of consciousness and she has seasons and she retrogrades and all of that good stuff. Okay. So if she can have all of her crazy seasons and be inconsistent, you can too. Get familiar with your personal astrological calendar to know what is going to work for you during a certain time of the year and what won't work for you. So you won't put these demands on yourself that you can't live up to, because it's certainly that things are easier said than done. So I can say, I'm gonna give you $1 million. Now the process of me doing that, so be authentic. Authenticity is the key to enlightenment. You cannot be enlightened without being authentic.
All right. Next question. How do you help someone heal their inner child?
There are many different modalities. One of the things that I love to do is a titration exercise where I talk about different difficult experiences in your childhood. I walk you backwards and help you to look at that experience from a different scope and lens without disregarding your authentic feelings from those times.
Okay. Next question. If thoughts can come from several different places, how does one discern the origin?
Well, you got to study the different aspects of the brain. Like, I know some of them. I know like the medulla, the stem is like your more primal instincts in mind, where when women are pregnant, we tend to have our medulla stem more activated, and it's all about just getting your survival needs met. Now, the limbic system of the brain is your emotional part of your brain, and your everyday conscious mind, which is more of your prefrontal cortex, that's going to be that mind that is programmed by your ego and by society. So you just got to understand the different parts of the brain and what they rule to know where your thoughts are coming from.
All right, I got a text. When I got a good show, that's when I get the text coming in, because they want to ask the question via text. They want to know, considering the importance that we discussed emotions in our emotional body, how can someone not let one single thing ruin their entire day? Like, if one thing happened to you, they don't want to be in that emotional state the entire day.
You would want to do some form of a grounding in somatics exercise. And it definitely depends on what is going on. But to give a general answer, you want to, really connect with yourself. I like to squeeze my hands and deep breathe. And I like to remind myself that, hey, you're on planet Earth to evolve. This difficult emotional experience is giving you an opportunity for evolution to be had. You want to see all challenges as an opportunity for growth and evolution. And when I think about it from that space, because I am an existentialist, it really provides a sense of comfort for me, even though it can create a level of detachment, but it can create a level of healthy detachment. You also want to know that you have made it through 100% of the tests that were ever thrown at you, and you will certainly get through that one as well.
Indeed. Well, let me ask you a question. If my moon is in Aries, where's my Lilith? I mean, I don't
know. I don't know if it is based like that for everybody,
right,
because it's not, because it has its own elliptical orbital cycle. So, yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, let me get to the next question. We're gonna do about 3 more, and then we're gonna get out of here, family.
And we
So
could do a reading later to check that out, and I could give you some insights.
okay, excellent, excellent. All right, can you explain Lilith in Taurus 11th house?
Oh wow, that's such a beautiful placement. Yeah, you can definitely be given some insights on like winning money, a lottery ticket or something like that. You could win big even in the stock market, but you could also lose really big in these areas. You could also have some shady friends, especially like if you loan money to some friends, let it be some money you don't even need. You know what I'm saying? Don't even loan nobody no money. That can really destroy your friendships. Also, you can deal with friends who may be jealous of you, who may try to sabotage you in one way or another, especially if they're jealous like of your possessions and things of sorts, and the worth and respect that you may receive from other people. But you can benefit from some very powerful friends who are in some really great spaces. You could also use the internet and just other things to a great financial benefit for yourself. But you also have to be mindful of your allergies. You can have some unique and or weird food choices and or allergies, and they can sabotage. You gotta, make sure if I had that placement, I would make sure that I checked into my allergenic say palate to ward off and avoid those foods that can really do a lot of damage in your life. And but yeah, that's a very powerful placement. It makes you very, say, magnetic, and you could attract so many wonderful things to yourself, but also some things that are superficial in nature or materialistic in nature.
Right, right. Yo, I know you heard Big. Remember, Biggie had a song "More Money, More Problems."
Yes.
Remember that song? Yeah. The more money we come across, the more problems we see. Is it like that with spirituality? The more light, more problems. So the more light you shine, the more this person hates you. This person talking about you. This person want to use you. This narcissist, this gaslighter. Is it like that with the light? Like how it is with money?
I would say to a certain extent, but also no, because I feel that since I've come into a lot more enlightenment is akin to turning your demons into your friends. And they always say that if you make peace with the enemy within, there's no enemy without. So one will be remiss to think that they are so enlightened and now they're dealing with all these problems. I think that actually reads to the contrary. Yeah, you're so enlightened, and you got all these things going on with all these people. Maybe that's really your ego is trying to tell you you're this great enlightened person, and you're fooling yourself, because if you were so enlightened, you won't be so concerned. You'll be able to see what other people are doing, you'll be able to understand, but you wouldn't get like caught up in or sulk in that experience.
Indeed, indeed. All right, I think I'm gonna take one more question from the family. A lot of y'all want like little mini readings. I'm about to end it. I would everybody, if you want, like, just get the official reading, support the sister, and book a session and get an official reading, because I know everybody in the chat, they want like these little mini readings. But book a reading, y'all. Book a reading. I've heard nothing but great things about the sis and what she does. And you're a student of Raku. I don't know if you mentioned earlier. Yeah, student of Raku, sharp brother. He was just on the show. He was just on the show last week.
Yeah,
shout out to that brother right there.
So amazing. I love him so much.
Indeed, indeed. Let me see. Hold up. Let me. Okay. Kateria, do you have advice for Leo and Black Lilith Moon, also sidereal or Placidus astrology? I don't know if I said that right.
So don't come at me with sidereal astrology. Y'all gonna probably hate me. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to throw hands with like several sidereal astrologers.
Yeah.
But I do read the Placidus chart. When I read a chart, I read it through 3 different systems, and one of them being Placidus. And but what was that? It was the dark moon Lilith. So there's things in your childhood that you need to address in your own sense of confidence, and how it could, say, sabotage you. You could also be very, say, playful and expressive when it comes to the bedroom fun time play, but sometimes that can be a bit over the top, dramatic, and or annoying. Sometimes your dark emotions and feelings can be convoluted and paradoxical, and you can come across as quite childish in nature. And some people may think that you're either selfish or narcissistic in one way or another. But if you really heal that energy, you would have one of the most magnetic creative expressions that the world certainly needs to see.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Once again, family, Kateria's info is in the chat. King Simon is sharing it. Make sure you click the links in the chat from King Simon. Want to thank you for coming on the show, making your debut.
Having me.
Great show. The people in the chat definitely enjoyed it. And
y'all too. Y'all questions were awesome.
Indeed. I advise y'all to book a reading and see what's going on astrologically. Any words before we get out of here, Kateria?
Check out my book. Check out the link to the pre-sales. I'm definitely looking for support in that area, family, to get this book, this project launched. I ran into a few hurdles on this journey. And so I'm so grateful for being able to do this interview and to share this experience. Brother Rich, as of late, Instagram has kind of shadow banned me. They're not allowing my content to be seen as much. So I'm just very grateful for this opportunity. And I just want to, definitely reach out to the family and ask for your love and support. I got my Kickstarter out there as well.
Indeed, indeed. Once again, thank you, family. Thank you. Tomorrow night, Dr. B Serious will be on the show.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, 9 p.m. So make sure y'all come back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. With that being said, everybody have a night. Kateria, thank you so much for the interview. I will talk to you soon. All right, peace, family. See y'all tomorrow.